I knew that they were in danger. I don't think I really knew how much.
Good work. Yes, good girl.
We're trying to figure out what to do for Caitlin's birthday, my girlfriend. She loves sea turtles, so I punched in to Google, sea turtles in Texas, and the National Seashore popped up. They have a sea turtle science and recovery division. And so I was clicking through their links, and I basically just fell down the click hole, and I was reading about all this cool stuff they do. And one of the things they do is they have patrols where they go out and they look for nesting sea turtles and sea turtle nests. They collect the eggs. And I was reading about how they find the nest. If they're not right there when the turtle's nesting, they have to probe for the nest because they can be really hard to see. And so they'll go out and they'll take a guess and they start probing the sand. And they have, very highly trained people to do the probing so they don't break any eggs or anything, but very carefully probe the sand. It can take them hours and sometimes days to find a nest. And so I was like, man, I wonder if they use dogs for that. So I just sent an email and I was like, hey, do you guys ever use dogs for that? And Dr. Donna Shaver, who's the head of the department, actually emailed me back and said that until recently they'd used her dog, Ridley. So she had a dog named Ridley Ranger. And he's kind of infamous. You can find him on the internet and stuff. There's pictures of him all over. He's on magazine covers and stuff because he used to help find sea turtles for them. But unfortunately, he passed away January of last year, which was, a couple of months before I got in contact with them. So they no longer had that capability. And so I was like, well, are you interested? And she wrote me back. She's like, well, I know those dogs can be really expensive, $40,000, $50,000. And I was like, well, granted. But what if I were to start a nonprofit and basically do this at no cost to you? And so I drove down and met with her and talked to her for a little bit. And 3 hours later, I left with a go-ahead from her and some material to start training the dogs. Training the dogs is kind of hard because the turtles are endangered, and so I can't possess like eggs and things like that. And so what we do is we'll take sand from the nest after the turtles, after they've collected the eggs and everything, so it's not just a hole in the beach. And we'll take a little bit of sand out of the nest that has the smell of the nest, essentially. And we will use that to train the dogs. We're training the dogs to find the smell of the nest based off that sand. So training the dogs to find one scent, drugs, explosives, bodies, or sea turtles, it's all the same. There's different methods of specifically doing it, but basically what you're doing is you're telling the dog, this smell gets you rewarded. This smell has value, and so when they pick up that scent, they'll follow it. They'll go to where it's originating, and then they'll indicate.
So what we do is we go and patrol the beach. So we'll drive up and down just like the turtle patrollers. And if there is signs of a nest, or we get called that there's been signs of a nest and they can't find it, we'll drive over there with the dogs, let them out, and they will kind of scan the area and start sniffing the ground. And usually they'll pick up where the turtle kind of came in out of the water and follow her trail into the nest. And then they will sit or lay down depending on the dog to let us know the nest is right here and it's supposed to be right between their feet. If we're going to the beach, it's at least a whole day thing because it's 6-hour round trip. Plus you got to have time actually on the beach training. So sometimes it'll be a day or a 2-day long trip if we're doing a beach trip. If it's training just here, you like to do short sessions with the dogs, so you're not doing like an hour-long training session. It's like 15 minutes because you don't want to overwork them. You get to the point where it's not fun anymore. And Chris is actually good friends with some of the managers and the owner of Mochas and Javas. So when he had told them what we were doing, they thought that was really cool. And he told them about the straws we were selling, and the owner offered to let us sell them there at no cost to them. So they're not taking any percentage of the profits. All of the money is going right back to us. Their main goal was Kemp's Ridleys because they were near extinction 100 years ago. There were an estimated 1,000 left in the world. And so the fact that they've brought them back from the point of extinction and that we can be helping them just further increase the numbers every year and make sure that none of the nests go unnoticed to be left for predators or because you can drive on the beach in Texas, you could crush a sea turtle nest with your car, anything like that. And so just the fact that we're helping make sure that every single turtle nest that gets laid on that beach gets pulled out and incubated and then released is just increasing the chance of more turtles surviving to adulthood.